Hi, let's talk about strategic planning, what it is and what it is not. As we do so, we're going to cover three major topics. The first topic, just some general thoughts on planning. The second topic is what is strategic planning specifically. And the third topic, what are some of the characteristics of a strategic plan? First, some general thoughts on planning. It was Dwight D. Eisenhower who said that plans are nothing, planning is everything. Right? In order to achieve our mission, we have to plan. We simply must, even if we don't like it. We have to do it. It's the only way to achieve our missions. But as we do this, we have to expect and anticipate change. Change is going to come. So we have to plan to manage and manage the plan. I always like to say that planning is an art form, and in this case, art is a capital A-R-T. The A in art stands for articulate. If you can envision something, if you can think it up, you must articulate it. There's a lot of power in words, and if you keep it in your head, the likelihood of it coming to be is just diminished incredibly. So articulate in words what it is that you're after. Articulate your plan. The R in art is revise. You have to be ready to revise your plan at all times. The very first plan out of the gate, I can guarantee you, will not be the plan that you ended up with. There will be changes. The world changes, situations change, your own ability to deliver may change. You have to be flexible and you have to revise. The T in art stands for track. With any good plan, you have to identify measurable objectives that help you to understand if you're getting to your vision or not. And the only way to know that, after identifying the objectives, is to actually track how you're doing. So art, articulate, revise, track. It's cyclical. Planning never ends unless you're in a time-boxed project. But from a strategic point of view, you're constantly, or should be, constantly planning. There's a saying, the Musketeers always used to say it, others have said it, all for one and one for all. And I say, sort of. It's good that we're all on the same team and working toward the same objectives. But if we're all sitting in the room, all agreeing with each other on every single point, we might not be covering all of the aspects of any given issue. And therefore, we might be selling ourselves a little bit short on our solutions. There's a Japanese proverb that says, none of us is as smart as all of us. And I tend to believe that. However, I also can really appreciate something that James Surowiecki said in his book, The Wisdom of Crowds. And I'm going to read here so that I don't misquote what he says. But two phrases out of this book really captured my attention. The first one is that the wisdom of crowds comes not from the consensus decisions of the group, but from the aggregation of the ideas, thoughts, and decisions of each individual in the group. He goes on to say that paradoxically, the best way for a group to be smart is for each person in it to think and act as independently as possible. All right? So we have to avoid groupthink. It's good that we're all on the same page, but we can't just agree just to agree. And we can't state just the obvious, and we can't repeat something that the boss says just because the boss says it. When we do those sorts of things, we've abandoned the independence of the individuals in the group, and we have migrated into groupthink, which is not as creative and probably not going to solve any of the problems that could be on our table. So those were some general thoughts on planning. Now let's define strategic planning. The definitions I'm going to use are not my own. They come from the Balanced Scorecard Institute, and they can be found on their website. What is strategic planning? Well, strategic planning is an organizational management activity. Right? It's an organizational management activity that's used to set priorities, focus the energies, and ensure that we're all doing the things that are important to the organization. It's very, very easy to get involved in so many things that we've lost all sense of focus. So strategic planning is a tool to help us focus those priorities and energies. It's a disciplined effort. Right? It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come naturally in a lot of cases, in most cases. So it's a very learned discipline that we have to align ourselves to, or we can find ourselves in just a state of constantly just trying to do whatever we need to do to get through the day, or sticking too many irons in the fire and trying to do too many things at once. What's a strategic plan? Well, a strategic plan is a document, that's used to communicate with the organization. It's used to communicate the organizational goals, the actions that are needed to achieve those goals, and all of the other critical elements that are developed during the planning exercise. Right? So it becomes a communication tool in a very real sense. Again, going back to art, it's the articulation of what it is that we want to do. And if we don't articulate it in some form or fashion, then we have a bunch of employees running around that aren't really sure what it is they're trying to achieve, other than, again, just trying to get through the day. What's strategic management? Strategic management now. Now we're talking. Strategic management is the comprehensive collection of ongoing activities and processes that organizations use to systematically coordinate and align resources and actions. So it's not enough to just say, we have a strategic plan, we are strategic planners. We also must be strategic managers. Strategic management activities transform the static plan into a system that provides strategic performance feedback. We need that feedback. Why? Because we're trying to track how we're doing. And as we track, we're going to realize we need to revise our plans. Well, what are the steps to strategic management and planning? There are all kinds of frameworks out there that can help guide you in how to go about strategic planning and management. Lots of different methodologies that are out there. I certainly have my favorites, and you probably have yours as well. Right? But most of them follow a similar pattern and have four major phases. The first phase really is to analyze and assess. Right? Where are we? Where is it that we want to go? That's typically phase one. Phase two is strategy formulation. Now that we know where we want to go and where we're coming from, how are we going to get to that next level? The third phase is strategy execution. We know where we're coming from, we know where we want to go, we've laid out a plan to get there, and now we're going to start executing to that plan. And then fourth phase is evaluation. And that's an ongoing phase. Execution and evaluation go on simultaneously until the end of the project. Or, if it's organizational strategy, it really never ends. Unfortunately, many organizations never ever get to phase 3 and phase 4. We sit around, think about what it is we want to be, who we want to be. We put a plan together that will help us get there, and we put it on a shelf, it gathers dust, and we tell all of our friends and colleagues and superiors that we have a strategic plan. Isn't it pretty? It's sitting up there on the shelf if you want to take a look at it. But we never get to the third and fourth phases of execution and evaluation. So relative to that, and as a final thought I would leave you with, as you put plans together, make sure that you're defining objectives. What is it that you want to achieve with that plan? And then begin tracking your progress against those objectives. If you're doing that, then you are into phase 3 and 4, where you're executing to your plan and you are evaluating as you go. Remember, planning is an art form. Articulate, revise, and track. Good luck with your plans. We'll see you next time.